All right, guys, welcome to another session where we'll be continuing on where we stopped in our episode of data project with AWS and Databricks. Okay, previous session we were able to launch the Databricks, created workspace, and also set up our cluster, and we did saw the EC2 running, and as well as we're able to mount the S3 bucket to DBFS file. Okay, now we're going to continue from where we stopped, but just before we go further, I noticed that in some of you, you might not see this legacy Hive meta store. Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to come to the workspace there. Make sure you still have your workspace. Remember, we are using the DSP Dev Demo workspace. Okay, and then you come to catalog. You see we have one meta store. Okay, now let's click on that meta store and then let's click on workspaces, so we can see it's already assigned to these two workspaces, right? Don't just neglect this other one. I was using it before this particular video. Now all you need to do is just click on this open button. Once you click on it, it would automatically display that legacy meta store. Okay, I need you guys to have that. Okay, so I'm just gonna close it because I've done that. You can see the legacy meta store. Okay, now what we need to do is that we need just to make sure that this is running perfectly well. Let's run it again. It might give us an error because it's already mounted, right? You can see set direction already mounted, so that's okay. We just want to check to make sure that everything is still working as expected. Now let's start dealing with, remember our architecture diagram, right? So what we have done is just to keep setting up the Databricks in a place where it's ready for transformation. Now we are ready for transformation. We're going to start with the bronze, silver, gold. First of all, for text data, and then we're going to go to the weather data, and then that's where we're going to be able to see how those transformations happen across different layers. Okay, so let's go back to our console and our Databricks platform. Now that we have all of that in mind, now the task here is that you can follow with this table of content. I will share this with you guys as well, and you can see we want to load the NYS sorry New York City text data and register Brown's Delta table in Hive meta store, right? That's what we want to do right now, and this is what the code is doing. Now let's talk about the code. So what this is doing is basically, this is a variable, so it's reading July 2025 yellow text trip data from the mounted S3 landing zone. Okay, now this is a variable, right? And what are we storing in this variable? We are basically calling Spark to read packet file. Now what's the packet file we are reading? Now we're going to reference the mount name here, and then we're then going to reference the path where we have this file. Now if you trace back the path, you see that this path is very similar to, it's exactly the same thing that you'll have here. So you can see we have that bucket which is being mounted already. Then we have landing New York City TechZ 2025-07, and then the data itself. Now let's go back to our transformation. You'll see that the path is the same, right? And then the other thing we are doing here, right here, is that we are then creating a schema, because we want to have schema for every of our different layers, right? So we are creating a schema, and we are saying spark.sql create schema if not exists. This undo for us to be able to repeat this query over and over, right? So that way it doesn't give us an error. So we are saying that the catalog is Hive meta store and the bronze is New York City. Okay, and we're saying that we want you to save the data within this, right? And then we'd also want to write the data to a path in S3, right? So this is our target part, and it's telling you it's Bronze, New York, taxi, 2025-07, and then the file name. Now keep in mind that we don't have anything like that right now. Okay, when you look at your bucket, you only have landing. Now after running this query, we want to both save the data as well as register the bronze or persist the bronze in the schema here, right? So that's why we are creating the schema and saving as well. Now this is the code we are basically, these are just defining, this is defining the parameter, the variable, and here we are running the code. So we are writing the data frame. Data frame is a table that we have here in within Python, and then we want to write that to the bronze part, overwriting if it exists, right? So basically we are saying this table, this data frame that you have here, right, let the format to use to write is going to be delta. I'm going to show you what that looks like in terms of the format. Let the mode be override, so we are not appending. Basically, if the same name exists in that part, replace it and save to this part. Okay. And then here we are also saying that not only do we want to see the file saved, but we want to also be able to access the file in here, right? If you look here right now within the Hive meta store, you will see this schema, but let me see if I can actually drop this schema, but I'll leave it for now. In yours you won't see any of the schema, but the code will work accordingly. Okay, now we are saying create a table. If not exists, then we want to create this table within the schema. If you look here now, you can see a table here. So basically we can quickly run a query just to drop that. Okay, let's drop that table. Draw table. Okay, and then we call this table here, right? This is our table name, and we should see this disappear. Okay, and let's try that. Let's run it so that way we can imitate exactly what you guys have. Okay, so let's refresh. So you won't see anything there. So let's see drop schemas, if and then let's drop the schema as well. All right, okay, perfect. So we're gonna refresh. Now you don't see, now you only see default. This is good. All right, so now that we've done that, now let's run this. Two things we expect from this code is that we expect our file to be saved there in a different folder, and also we expect the schema to be created and the table to be created. So let's quickly run that. Let's run that right now. All right, let's see. All right, we're just gonna wait for it to run. All right, beautiful, beautiful. So you can see our schema, what it looks like. Sorry, we can see our table, what the structure look like, and then we're gonna refresh this. First of all, let's check. Oh, beautiful, we now see our bronze New York City schema. Let's see, look at the table. We now have a table, right. So let's try and query this table. Okay, we're gonna try and query it. We're just gonna add a code here. We're gonna say select star from, we'll say Hive meta store, browse, and then delete, and then we'll see if it works, right? So if it works correctly, we should see the data come up. Awesome. So now we created the schema, the table is coming as expected. Let's see the file if it got saved. Let's refresh this. We should see, beautiful, we see a bronze folder. We can see that, beautiful, and see, we can see the file. Now you can see the delta format that I'm telling you. You can see it create another folder, and within that folder you can see we have stage commit and all of this. But they are expected once you have the data in a delta lake format. Okay, so that's simply how you would take advantage of the delta features. Okay, oh, beautiful. So now we have successfully created our bronze layer. All right, so let's go to the next one, which is going to be the silver layer. Let's not lose sight of where we are. All right, so for the tags of data, we've finished off with this. We want to create a silver layer, and then we're going to prep it for the gold layer. Okay, so let's go back. All right, let's go back here, and then here we're going to import some functions, and basically we are importing some certain functions, and then here we are trying to standardize the data types. We can see, if you look here, you see this one we are converting to timestamp, we are converting it to timestamp, we are converting this to integer, double, 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 and then this one to dates. You can see that, and this one we are converting to timestamp. Okay, and if you look at this, how you will know that your code is working perfectly, you can see here timestamp ntz long is here, and then once we run this code, it should just give us what we need. Let's run it. Okay, so basically we are updating the schema. Let's see if you can see beautiful. You can see the timestamp is no longer underscore and the extra suffix that was added here. We can see long, integer, integer, long. So integer is usually, you can see integer, and then if you keep going, so everything, can see the date is coming as date, and then you can also double check with your values just to make sure. You can see this is the timestamp, this is the date. So beautiful, it's coming as expected. Now there's additional transformation or cleaning we need to do. We're going to count first. Okay, we're going to count because we want to remove duplicate. Keep in mind this is our silver layer, and we want it to be well cleaned enough that other people can take advantage, not for this use case but other use cases. Okay, now we did a count, and then we can see it's about 3,800,963, right? And then we're gonna run this code to basically drop duplicate, and then after removing duplicate, we're gonna see what the count looks like. Let's run that. All right, let's run it. Beautiful. Now you can see that there is one record that has been dropped. Okay, if we want to do more check, we can actually take a look at the record that actually had duplicate, but we're not going to look at that for today. If you have time, I encourage you to play around with this data a little bit to understand the data more, but for the purpose of this video, we will just focus on what we intended to do. All right, so let's run to see the data. Okay, the data is coming as expected. All right, now that we have cleaned our data, one thing we have to do is that we have to do the same thing we did for the other one, which is to create a schema, save the file in our our S3, right, in our storage layer. Now we should have a silver folder created here, and also we want to create a table. So three things: create schema, create table, save your file. Okay, all right, and it's actually going to start from create schema, save your file, and create table, right? If you want to look at it chronologically. Okay, so now we've gone through this code before. There's no need to go through it again, so we're just going to run this, and then we should see. Okay, you can see we've seen one new schema come up, and we should see the table as well. Beautiful, you can see the table is coming up. Awesome, awesome. So let's double check here as well. Let's refresh, and beautiful, you can see that it's coming as expected. Awesome, and then we have our file here. Beautiful, great. All right, so now we are done with the silver layer. We can also double check as well. Let's double check, and just to be sure that our beautiful, our table is coming as expected. Now let's prepare this silver table for the gold layer. Now what we want to do here, I'm going to go over the code, is that we will basically what we'll do here is that we'll basically group by date, and we're going to have a session for SQL coding. So please, if you are still not sure what we mean by group by, wait for that session, or you can do your research as well. But we're going to spend some time in just understanding some of the SQL functions. All right, so now what we are doing, though, we said group by date. We're using Python in this case, and then we said group by date, and then we're saying count. Basically, count the number of trips per day. Give us the average fare amount per day. Give us the sum total amount per day. Okay, and we are calling it total revenue, average fare, trip count. Okay, so we're gonna run that. All right. Awesome. So you can see, all right, so we can see that now we have 33 days, and if you look at the days, it's all in July, and it's coming as expected. Beautiful. Now we're gonna stop right here, and our next session, we're going to be looking at the weather data. Something similar, but not for the tax data, for the weather data. I know this is it's getting more interesting, and please share, subscribe, like, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video where we talk about how to deal with the weather data.